Hello and welcome to Good at Voice with the Tara Sampson Voice Studio. I'm Tara Sampson. Let's talk about music. So today, my friends, we are talking about music theory. First of all, we need to know, what is music theory? Music theory is learning to read music. Music is its own language. So if I handed you a piece of music and said, what does this mean? It'd be like me handing you a piece of paper written in a language you don't speak and asking you to translate it for me. So we're going to be talking about the fundamentals of music theory today. So we're setting up what you need to know to get better and better at reading music, to start making sense of music, written music. Okay, let's dive right in. First of all, we need to know the alphabet. Just like any other language, music has an alphabet. Ours is A through G of the English language. We only use the first 7 letters and then we repeat. So it's simply A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, and then it repeats from there. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and so on and so forth. All right? Now, what do we use it for? Well, first we need to talk about a staff. This is a staff. It's made up of 5 lines and the 4 spaces between those 5 lines. Okay? That's our staff. Each line and space in that staff gets assigned its own letter of that musical alphabet. On a staff, these 5 lines and 4 spaces, they each have a number. You can number them from bottom to top. Always, always, always numbered or labeled from bottom to top. So your lines would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and your spaces would be 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? There are 2 things we need to know in order to tell what line or space we are referring to. First is the treble clef. Okay, my friends, you have all seen a treble clef by now because you're watching this video. My logo for the Tara Sampson Voice Studio is a treble clef. It's also what you see on my shirt here. The treble clef looks like this. That is what you will see at the beginning on the left-hand side of a page, at the beginning of each line of music. When we see this treble clef in front of our staff, we know that this means our bottom line is an E as in egg. And from there, those lines, not the spaces, the lines are E, G, B, D, F. A great mnemonic device for this, to remember it, is the sentence, every good boy does fine. E, G, B, D, F. Okay? Now, our spaces are nice and simple with this treble clef, my friends. They are F, A, C, E, spelling face. There's something really neat, though, that we can make a note of here. Our bottom line is E. Our bottom space is F. The next line is G. The next space is A. The next line is B. The next space is C. The next line is D. The next space is E. And the last line is F. That looks just like the alphabet, doesn't it, my friends? Starting from that bottom E, you can simply go line, space, line, space, line, space, and do the alphabet. E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and go on and on and on up through the staff and beyond. Okay? Same thing going down. You simply do the alphabet backwards. If I start on that middle line B, the space right before it is A, because A comes before B in the alphabet. Okay? Now, what's the other thing we needed to learn about this staff? We have another clef, my friends. It is called the bass clef. Okay? So the bass clef is what very few singers will sing in. Typically, it's the lowest male voices, also known as the basses, will sing in this bass clef. It doesn't mean we can't sing down there as women. It's just a little low for most of us. Now, the bass clef lines and spaces are different than the treble clef lines and spaces. Okay, so we need to make sure we know the difference between the two. Our bass clef, just as in our treble clef, those staff lines and spaces are numbered from bottom to top. They're also lettered from bottom to top. But our bass clef starts on G. G is in good. The lines of the bass clef are G, B, D, F, A. A great mnemonic device for this is good boys do fine always. G, B, D, F, A. Our spaces, again from bottom to top, are A, C, E, and G. A great sentence for that, my friends, is all cows eat grass. Or if you're like me, you just remember it as ASG. Okay? Again, we can see the alphabet at work here. G is that bottom line. Then we go right back to A for the bottom space, B for the next line, C for the next space, and so on. Okay, everyone? One final thing to note about the treble and bass clef, my friends, is they have two names. Your treble clef is also known as the G clef, G as in good, because that internal squiggle is circling the line G. Your bass clef is also known as the F clef, F as in Frank, because those two dots that you're seeing are on either side of the line F. Now, how do these two work together? Well, let me tell you. We usually put these together in what's called a grand staff. Your grand staff is a bass clef on bottom with a treble clef stacked on top, connected by a bracket on the side. This is what most piano players are looking at because the treble clef indicates the right hand and the bass clef indicates the left hand. For vocal music, usually you're going to have that piano line as well as the vocal line. All you'll see there is the grand staff, bass clef, treble clef, with another treble clef on top. Okay? That extra treble clef on top is not part of the grand staff. It is just considered the vocal line that you're seeing on top of the grand staff. Please keep in mind today, my friends, that we are talking specifically about vocal and piano music. Guitar tabs are different, as is drum notation. So this is specifically geared towards piano and voice. Okay? So, my friends, how does the grand staff work together? How can we just go seamlessly from the bass clef to the treble clef? Here's how it works. Our bass clef ends on the line A. Then we have the space above that is B. And then we have that line that we would add. Adding a line to the staff is called a ledger line, whether it is below or above the staff. We add that line for C. Then the space above that is D. Line above that is E. And if you take a look at that grand staff, we can see that they seamlessly go up from the very bottom G all the way through that top F of the treble clef. So we're simply doing the alphabet, my friends. That C that you're seeing in the middle is what's called middle C. Most people, even people not familiar with music, have heard of middle C. It is the C in the middle of the keyboard or piano, but it is also the C right in the middle of your grand staff. So what does this mean? Why is it important? Your grand staff tells you where on the piano you're singing. Someone just said sing an E. That could mean this E way down here, or it could mean this E way up here. They're both an E. So how do I know which E is being referred to? We look at our staff. That middle C is this C right here. If I'm looking at a note on the treble clef, that's everything above that middle C. The first E, the bottom line, is the E that is closest to that middle C. The E that is that top space is the octave above. that takes us into octaves. When we are talking about an octave, we are talking about, simply put, one letter on the piano to the very next of that letter. So a C to a C, or it can go backwards, C to the C below. But what is an octave? What makes something an octave? If you haven't gotten to high school physics yet, you will, and you will hopefully talk about the physics of sound. All sound is waves. Just like light waves or radio waves, they're waves. A pitch is simply a specific frequency of those waves. If I take this A4, and I double the frequency, so I make it twice as fast, I get to A5. If I play them together, they sound like the same note, even though we do know that one is higher and one is lower. That is an octave. They can be any note as long as you're doubling or halving the frequency. So F sharp doubled is this, quadrupled goes all the way up to here. If I take that same F sharp and cut the frequency in half, I get down there. Cut that frequency in half again, and we're down there. That's the basis of an octave. There is more to it in terms of half steps and whole steps and things like that, but we'll talk about that more when we dive more specifically into a major scale. That's all we're going to talk about today. If you'd like to dive even further into this, check out some of our other videos. We talk about solfege, and we have a lovely breathing for singers if you want some more movement in your day. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave them in the comments down below. You can find me at www.tarasampsonvoice.com, at facebook.com/tarasampsonvoice, or contact me directly at tara@tarasampsonvoice.com. We can also be found on Instagram at tarasampsonvoicestudio with an underscore in between each word. All right, my friends, thank you so much for tuning in. Please like and subscribe, and keep singing.